Um, Lesson 2 is about comparing functions. And if you remember, a function is any relationship where every x value only has one y value. And so a function can be in the form of a equation. It can be a list of ordered pairs. It can be a table, and it can be a graph. So we compare the functions by looking at their properties, such as slope or rate of change. Remember, we keep saying that those all mean the same thing, or like unit rate. So to find the rate of change, we use the slope formula, which we know is y minus y. I told you guys that we'd still see this over x minus x. And you can just draw your line here for the fraction bar. Or you compare the ratio of rise over run. And you, again, can draw that line, rise over run. Okay, so we're going to practice finding the rate of change on these examples. So when we have an equation, where is the rate of change? You go ahead and do all of these. Basically, it's a slope. Pause it and see if you get what I have. So on number 1, the rate of change is a slope, so you should have written down 2/5. Remember, 9 would be the y-intercept if you were going to graph this. On number 2, you need to do y minus y over x minus x. So when you go ahead and do that, you get 1.5 over 1. So the slope is just 1.5. And then on this one, I chose -11 minus -5 over 7 minus 5. And when you do that, you do add the opposite. And so we get -6 over 2. And you're going to reduce that to -3. And really the main reason you want to reduce it is because when we do go to compare these, it's easier to compare 1.5 to -3 better than 1.5 to -6 over 2. So you need to reduce them. And then remember, on a graph, we go rise over run. So on this one, we're going up 1 and then over 4. So it's 1/4 and it's positive. So now that you remember how to do that from last unit, we have to use that knowledge to compare functions with story problems. So go ahead and read this one. So hopefully you paused it and read it. And so Ty sells signs, 7 signs for every 2 hours. And if you want to, you could make a little 7 signs every 2 hours, kind of like we did last year. And then Harrison is, here's one of them, 15 signs every 4 hours, 30 signs every 8 hours. So to compare them, who's making at a greater rate, you have to compare their rate of change. So if you have 7 signs every 2 hours, to get your unit rate, you just have to divide this. So you would do 7 divided by 2, which is 3.5. So he does 3.5 signs every 2 hours. And for the chart, since it is 0, 0 here, you know that means it's proportional. So that means every time we do 15 divided by 4, or 30 divided by 8, or 45 divided by 12, it should be the same. But to be safe, you could just do y minus y over x minus x. So 30 minus 15 is 15. And then 8 minus 5 is 4. So you have 15 over 4. And then when you divide that, 15 divided by 4, if you use a calculator, or I'm just going to do 4 goes into 15 3 times, and that's 12, and then I have 3/4 left over. So that's 3.75. So it's not by much, but Harrison is making it at a little bit faster rate, not much. And then it says after 12 hours, what would be the difference in the number of signs that each friend has made? So so you have to find their unit rate. So you would take 3.5 times 12 and 3.75 times 12. And then the difference in the number of signs they make, you need to subtract those. And you do that, and we'll come back tomorrow and check to see what you get. But we're going to keep going. But you get that answer and bring it back. Okay, the next one, Julie's family is filling up in her backyard. Here's the equation they give you. So you should be able to find the rate of change in that equation. It can be used to show that the pool is filling up with water. Y is the total amount of water in gallons, and X is the amount of time. So 5.2 gallons per minute. Her neighbor, Elena, is also filling up their pool as shown in the table. Now, this one does not have 0, 0, so you know it is not proportional. So you have to do y minus y over x minus x. You cannot just divide like these two because that will not always work. So whose pool is filling up at a faster rate? And you bring that answer back with us tomorrow and see what you get and have both of their rates. I want you to skip number 7 because these are not in the correct form, so I'm going to show you that tomorrow. Number 8, you compare the slope and the equation. So here's your equation. And then it says with the slope in the ordered pair. So remember how to find slope again, y minus y over x minus x, and see which one has the greater rate of change. And then number 9, they are working together to try to lose weight. Reese's weight loss can be modeled by the equation of this. So it looks like he's losing 4 pounds every week, and this is the weight he would have started at. Kevin's weight loss is shown in the graph below. So Kevin starts at what weight? You should be able to find that here. This is starting point. And then you find the slope, and that will tell you how much he loses every week. And then you see who is losing more per week and bring that back tomorrow.